This is the Talking Property Podcast, brought to you by Reward.com, the home of WA real estate. Thank you for listening to Talking Property, the show in which we discuss all aspects of real estate. Now, here is your host, Harvey Deegan, together with our expert commentators, Rob Druitt and Rob Ryan.
Welcome to Talking Property, everyone. And if you are interested in the Kwinana area when it comes to buying and selling property or renting property in that area, we have an expert that we're going to talk to shortly in Agent's Corner. Her name is Paula Aroldi, and I think that you are going to find that the value in Kwinana is extremely good, very worthwhile having a listen and keeping your options open in that area. She's coming up with us shortly. Been looking forward to this discussion because it's with Paula Aroldi, and she's from Encore Property in Kwinana. Welcome to our Talking Property podcast, Paula.
Thank you very much. It's good to be on Talking Property.
Now, Paula, what's the attraction of Kwinana? If I was looking to buy a house anywhere in the metropolitan area, why should I come to Kwinana?
Oh, look, I don't know where to start, honestly. I absolutely adore Kwinana. We got leafy green streets. We got houses with big properties, big blocks, smaller blocks. We got a lot in Kwinana. I think if you were going to buy in Kwinana, I'd say, look, what are you first? Are you an investor? Are you a first home buyer? We got such a good mix that we can cater for the whole market.
So is there a skew towards any one of the aforementioned sectors? Are there more, for example, first home buyers than there are people maybe downsizing? What's the percentage, I suppose, in rough terms?
Speaking on the last quarter, I'd say, the last couple of months, we've had such a mix. First home buyers have certainly stepped back into the market, and they're quite strong, to the point where I'd actually say probably a good 40% is first home buyers. Wow. Yeah, it's big. Look, Kwinana comes back to affordability, and that's what I absolutely love about it. So it's affordable for such a mix of people. Investors, we haven't really seen local investors come back in yet. However, I'm seeing a huge influx of Eastern States investors. So we're starting to see our 5, maybe 6% return at the moment now that, with the rentals, that's gone up, which is great. And they're obviously seeing an opportunity, but locally they're sort of just sitting back waiting due to COVID. That's my gut. I'm not a professional in that area, but it seems to be that they're just standing back, just waiting to see. But the Eastern Staters seem to be, we're getting inquiries every single day for Eastern State investors.
Paula, Rob Druitt here. Thanks so much for talking to us on Talking Property. It's amazing the price range, though, through Kwinana, and I guess for Eastern States buyers, particularly those from Sydney and Melbourne. With a median price, what would you say, is 300 to 400,000? It's incredibly affordable.
Extremely affordable, Rob. It's absolutely fantastic, and that's why I think they're looking from where they stand, and they're doing their numbers, and they're seeing the returns, and they're thinking, okay, well, let's get in and do something now, as opposed to 4 months ago, weren't even around.
But great that you're getting some investor activity, particularly from the Eastern States, because you manage properties too, don't you, rental properties?
Yes, we absolutely do.
And have you found a run on sales of your rent roll over the past 6 months?
Very strong. Yeah,
exactly. And so it's quite interesting, isn't it, that a lot of the investors who have been in the investment market for some time in Perth are now exiting the market, I suppose because prices have increased a bit. But, of course, that's just making the rental situation worse because there's less investment properties which are being taken up by owner-occupiers.
Exactly right, exactly.
Need that stock to be replaced, and it's good that the Eastern States investors are coming in.
Yep, that's exactly what I was just about to say. I'm finding our local investors are thinking, great, look, the market's improving, let's get out now. Whether they've had a good experience or a bad experience. But, hey, there's money to be made, let's just get out and move on. And a lot of them are doing that, and they're upsizing their own homes. So they're going into something bigger and better for their own family and sort of getting out of the investing, which is a shame, really.
Paula, Rod Ryan. I've lived in Wellard down in that location. When I lived there was no shopping centre. The railway line had just come into place. But you've got a bit going for you down there, because I suppose everybody that, feels pretty confident that they want to live next to the Premier down there, I guess. But really, there is a lot going for Kwinana. There's the freeway, there's the beach is not far away. The shopping centre now is excellent, and there's a lot of really good property down there, a lot of really good properties.
Exactly. That's my point. I was the same. I used to live over there, and it was all rural properties. In Kwinana, you couldn't have even, it wasn't even a town centre. Used to ride my horse through Bertram, what's known as Bertram now, and Wellard. It's changed so much, even in the last 10 years. The developing that's gone on there has just been insane. I mean, not as insane as Baldivis, but really insane. And it's great because we can actually say we've got a city now.
Yeah, well, that hub shopping centre, there's been millions have gone into that.
Absolutely.
When I drive through that area now, I hardly recognise what it was. There's been so much money going into that area through there. There really has.
Yeah, Paula, would it be correct in my assuming that because of the very affordable properties in your area, it's rather attractive to young families? So what's the availability of schools like there?
The schools are actually quite good, because obviously with the new estates that are getting developed, they've had a couple of new schools, and that's a mix of public and private. So we're not seeing any real pressure as far as numbers on the schools. So it's really attractive for families, and they're all good schools too. I can honestly say that, look, every area, every school, it is a lower socio-economic area. However, that's not a bad thing.
But it also means affordable real estate.
And it also means
Exactly.
a big turnover of properties as well.
Exactly right. And I tell you what, the people are real. A spade is a spade in K-Town, and that's what's great about it. It really is.
And Paula, what would be the main suburbs that you work in?
Well, the whole thing.
Wherever the listings are in Kwinana, you'll sell them. Yep.
You name it, we've got it. Yeah, we're all over the place. I've worked real estate in that area for 16 years as a professional licensed agent. Honestly, Kwinana is, you've got your Aurelia, you've got your Parnelli, you've got your Medina, and they're all close together. And I mean, Medina is just absolutely fantastic. Medina first started with BP refinery employees. I didn't realise that all these little cottages that everyone grows to love, they were actually fabricated in Canada.
Okay.
So
it's one of the most affordable suburbs in Perth too, isn't it, Medina?
It is. Yes, Medina absolutely is. And I love it because there's so much opportunity there, especially for subdivision, especially for investors and long-term growth.
Interesting. Paula, we've got a lot more to cover, so if you don't mind just taking a little bit of a break, because that's exactly what we're going to do, and we will be back with you shortly.
Thank you very much.
Find your next home in WA the easy way with the Rewa.com app. Keep the WA property market in the palm of your hand. Download the Rewa.com app today from the App Store or Google Play. With the Rewa.com app, you can find your next home with all the latest properties right at your fingertips. Download the Rewa.com app today. The latest properties in WA are there, right at your fingertips. So find the local agent, the right local agent for you by using the Rewa.com app to search and compare real estate agents in WA. We here at Talking Property are very, very proud that Rewa.com are our major supporters. We're speaking with Paula Aroldi from Encore Property in Kwinana. Paula, welcome back. And can I ask you about commercial property? What's the landscape like there as far as commercial property is concerned in your area?
Commercial's actually quite strong in Kwinana, believe it or not. I mean, obviously, we had a few years there stagnant. Our commercial is going quite well. It's probably turnaround on commercial properties at this point is about 4 months, which is not too bad in this market, especially with COVID.
And Paula, there's some very serious commercial areas through Kwinana. I mean, if you look at Henderson, there's a lot of money being put into there, both by state government and a huge potential for future shipbuilding and so on. And obviously that's going to provide a fantastic employment base. Then the talk about the outer harbour, I mean, that's probably further down the track. Obviously, with all these employment opportunities in the area there, you would think that obviously developers and greenfield subdivision estates and so on are going to continue to be very popular.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just, look, really, we're only just seeing the start of it. I mean, my gut tells me, look, 10 years ago I was banging on about Medina, about how much growth is going to be there with, you know, the new strip down there in Kwinana. Sorry, shouldn't call it strip, that's just old talk. It's the Kwinana industrial area is what it's known at. And they're injecting $15 billion out of there into the state's economy. I mean, that's massive. Surely you've got to look at that and think, well, okay, there's employment, there's growth, there's housing, and all at what price? It comes back to affordability. And I just think at some point everyone's going to wake up and go, wow, this really is the place to be. Because you're 5 minutes from the freeway, you're 10 minutes from the beach, you're 15, 20 minutes from Fremantle. It's incredible.
Yeah, Paula, what got you into real estate, my dear?
What got me into real estate? Well, honestly, I bought my first home when I was 23 years old on my own. And ever since then, I've had a passion, because the lady who sort of took me around, you know, back in the day, you get to sit in the car and you get taken around and shown all these properties. You know, remember those days?
Yeah.
I thought, gee, this is really quite good. I wouldn't mind doing this to myself one day. And yeah. And
what's your background, Paula? What did you do before you became a superstar real estate agent?
Well, I tell you what, I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. So before I got into real estate, I was in the marine industry, so sold outboard motors, jet skis, boats, all that sort of thing. So still a sales background. And then I went into an accounting type of background, and then went into corporate, went up north, worked on a couple of mine sites, did all that, and came back and then went, well, now it's time.
Well, fabulous background to be a real estate agent, because we tend to be jack of all trades, don't we? I mean, ultimately we negotiate deals, but there's all sorts of things we have to do, isn't there?
A bit of life experience doesn't hurt.
Life experience makes a big difference. Very much so.
And it's dealing with all sorts of different people.
And so what's the plan for Encore Properties from here?
Because the sales has been quite flat in the last few years, as we've all experienced, I've really looked at building a solid foundation for our rental. So our property management, that's the focus, that's the key, and we just want to keep providing our clients that good service, which I'm really proud of. I've got the same staff, they're all long-term, so I'm quite blessed really, because you know what, without them, there is no Encore Property.
How many do you have on staff?
I've got 6 plus myself is 7.
That's a vibrant little office. Can I ask you another question? I understand that you've entered into a partnership with DPT Maintenance. What's that all about?
Yeah, okay. So DPT is my husband, so his name's Dominic, and
that's a good partnership.
Dominic, he's come out of an industrial background, so he's a panel beater spray painter by trade, then worked for the last 17 years at a site in Alcoa as a supervisor for sandblasting and painting, and with that he did on the side a lot of industrial maintenance, a lot of residential maintenance, and we just decided, you know what, there's an opportunity here, because when he was doing it part-time, he goes above and beyond. He goes to, a client's property and, needs something fixed. But then while he's there, he'll spend an extra half an hour because the tenant's pointed out this or that, and he'll just fix this and fix that and not charge the owner, because they're our owners.
Good service, yeah. And that is one of the hardest things for property management, is to get really good, reliable maintenance people that won't gouge your clients, that do a fair and reasonable job, and also save money by doing work when they're there rather than having to come back a second or third time.
Look, honestly, cleaners charge a more hourly rate than what my husband does. Seriously, I've got to think about slapping him around sometime.
He probably enjoys that, but that's for another podcast.
That's right. And if ever he splits up from you, I suppose you'll get your maintenance. So that's not a
problem. That's really terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I really am sorry.
Oh dear. You've just hit the bottom. And you're starting to dig. Oh, there you go, Rod. Oh dear.
I've got a shovel.
Paula, you're infusing everybody here in our studio with your enthusiasm and your passion for real estate. How do people get in touch with your organisation?
They can look us up on the website, www.encoreproperty.com.au. Obviously, that's the first and foremost in this digital day and age that we live. Or they can contact us on 9439 4405. I'm happy to have a chat.
Well, we're very happy to have had you on the program, Paula, and we'll do it again in the future if you agree. Thanks so much for joining us on Talking Property.
Yeah, thanks, Paula.
Look forward to it. Thank you for having me, gents. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Paula.
Thank you.
Good on you.
Okay, Rod Ryan and Rob Druitt. I found that extremely interesting. The takeout that I got from Paula was that If people are looking to get the first step, to take the first step on the property ladder, looking around Kwinana to me makes a lot of sense.
She's passionate about her area and certainly very knowledgeable in the area as well. So it'd be a great person to go to and find out what the best buys are, because there's some great buying through Kwinana. My goodness.
And I think it'd be a pleasure to deal with Paula too. She's got a fantastic personality. She just loves what she does and loves the area. And yeah, she's a winner too. She's a beauty.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you'll join us again very soon for another episode of Talking Property. Thank you very much for listening to the Talking Property podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed the program. We are delighted to announce that Talking Property has become more and more popular as listeners discover us. Talking Property can now be heard on about 15 podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon, Australia's iHeartRadio, and Podbean. To keep all of our episodes together, download the Podbean app. Once downloaded, follow Talking Property and each new episode will be delivered to your device automatically. Talking Property is proudly sponsored by Rewa.com.
Thank you for listening to this podcast of Talking Property with Harvey Deegan, Rob Druitt and Rob Druitt.